One of the reasons why it's very difficult for me to give dating and relationship advice to men is because I don't know whether you're dealing with a person that is mentally healthy or not, whether a person is absolutely batshit crazy or insane. Because what we have today is a crisis of mental health, man versus delusion, man versus all types of personality disorders. And some men have personality disorders themselves, and many of them have a self-esteem crisis from being raised in an environment that has been trying to make men feminine for so many years, that have been punching down of manhood and masculinity and attacking masculinity. So you have to have a foundation. And that's why of mental health first. That's why when I listen to these game coaches talking to the young men and game my ass. You're gaming a crazy person. You're going to end up in the morgue or in the graveyard or in the insane asylum because that person is crazy. And what does it really mean? I can't really get into the depths of it. But what a lot of young men and men in general have to be careful with is with social media and the fact that we live in a gynocracy. Is we're raised in an environment with zero accountability for women. And we raised in an environment that boosts women up. Obviously, because of the financial motive of it, women spend 80% of the spending. So because they spend so much money, there's an incentive and a motivation to pander to women and to kiss women's ass. And even we have many men who've raised women as daddies, princesses, entitled, expecting certain things from men. That person grew up in a world. It's very easy to create narcissistic personality disorders in an environment that's constantly praising and kissing somebody's ass. I mean, come on. You would become an insane, self-absorbed, narcissist person if somebody kissed your ass and told you how wonderful you are. Every time you walked out the door, you're a failure. You don't take care of yourself. You don't take care of your body, and somebody's still praising you and telling you how beautiful you are all the time and how wonderful you are. Of course. And then you have social media, which was the straw that broke the camel's back, where now that attention can be spread throughout the state, the country, the world now, where thirsty, desperate jellyback simps everywhere are just liking comments and getting in DMs and telling them how wonderful they are. Shit, it's good. You can create an environment of absolute God complexes and all types of personality disorders. So you have to be able to vet and identify. There's many different videos, psychological videos on YouTube about identifying, not just one trait. One trait is just, some people are just kiss their own ass and that's nothing. But there's multiple patterns or traits and behaviors of narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorders, and this self-absorbent, self-focused, dangerously predatory narcissist behavior that you see right now. And I think it's inspired by a lot of the social media that's out here right now, and this addiction to social media and the addiction to tension. And like I said before, and it's global. We see it in China, we see it in South Korea, we see it in places like Thailand, we see it in South America, we see it all over the continent, Africa, you name it. Attention has become the most dangerous drug in the world. And trust me, if you go against something the internet says, all these panda bears, all these coaches online, all these people, just selling absolute nonsense, polluting the minds of people, especially women who are most vulnerable to mind manipulation, you're going to understand that what you're up against, dealing with that situation and dealing with them, and understanding that they're not in touch with reality. They live in a parallel universe somewhere else, and you're trying to deal with them, or in a real world, in a reality that you're existing as a man, and you're frustrated or you're angry or you're upset. You don't understand. You're sitting across talking to crazy, and that's what these guys don't talk about. You're dealing with somebody that's batshit crazy, and that's what you got to understand. And this is why it's important nowadays for men to really focus and look inward to your own self-esteem, to your own self-respect, to how you feel about yourself, self-mastery. and falling in love with your own company. And then the idea, purpose is what really, if women are only 10% of your life and the other 90% of your life is on purpose, hobbies, passion, things that matter to you, and the things that you do with yourself, and they're only 10%. If 10% acts up, you could kind of like, just got to get another woman at some point in time. This one is too crazy for me to be dealing with. And a lot of guys surrender their peace because in society, we've developed this dependency things with men, where they want men to get overly emotional, overly invested into the relationship female side, where so men don't feel complete without a relationship. It's like this attachment issues and disorders that are unhealthy, not healthy attachment or positive attachment or real love, which is the act of giving and sacrifice. More so these attachment and this romance and this feelings of emotions that they want men to be involved in, when realistically men need purpose. If you get up every day and you don't have purpose, then you're going to be always focused on these attachments to relationships and women, and looking to women as a source of something missing in your life. But the thing that's missing in your life is looking at you in the mirror every damn day. The solutions to your problems look at you in the mirror every day. And a man that's busy and engulfed in his passions and his hobby, because there used to be a time in this world, where people would look at a man and identify him by his profession and the things that he do. That guy is whatever, peaceful life. He's the mason. He's a town mason, or the guy who takes care of the, what they call it, who takes care of the weapons, the swords, or whatever else, or the dentist, or the doctor, or whatever else. Because the men were engulfed in their purpose, in their hobbies. Women were there. Women did their purpose in their jobs, but men were focused on their purpose. And a man without purpose is a man that's lost. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example. I've traveled to places in Southeast Asia. You go to a place like Pattaya, Thailand. There's a guy somewhere right at 9 o'clock in the morning. He's sitting on a bar stool, belly hanging out, drinking himself to death because he's surrounded by box. If you offered that man another piece of punani, he would slap the shit out of you. You offer him a Leo or a Chang Bear, he'll say, my friend, give you a fee. He don't want no more box. He has no more purpose in his life. You see, his life is lost. He's made his life about box, punani, and it's over. He doesn't get up in the morning, go to the gym, or do anything positive. He's not doing his hobbies, his craft. Maybe he was an engineer or mechanic in his past life. You see? And he thought going there would make his life complete if he just has all the punani. No, his purpose was lost. And that's why I tell these guys that travel overseas. Before you go overseas, make sure you have a scheduled plan of purpose that you're going to do with your day. What are you going to do with your day from the time you get up and from the time you rest your head? And it got nothing to do with women. What you're going to do with your day. What purpose are you going to be? What hobbies? What passion? What are you going to do with your life from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep? And it's got to be something meaningful. Whether you're an author, whether you get into business, whether you do something else that you enjoy, coaching, mentoring, teaching, whatever it is that separates yourself and makes you your purpose. My purpose now, especially now, is I focus on men's mental health. My job and my purpose is to keep men alive. And that starts with men's self-esteem. You understand? Because the culture itself, it really gives men a complete psychological beating. And you have individuals, especially some of these women, I don't get the idea. Some of these women themselves, they're going through a mental health crisis themselves. Imagine waking up every morning, you put on a false, fake face every day, and you look at a plastic instrument made with whatever, and this is where you get your self-esteem from, the World Wide Web. That person's insulting you. They've convinced men that these women are, you're supposed to pedestalize or they're better than you, or they've convinced a man of that. You understand, like if you go to certain countries and third world countries where there's none of all this government support and, system and the welfare state, and your family, you depend on your family for your survival, this goofy shit doesn't go on. The guy working on the car, you'd be like, yo, when's the last time you had some pre-owned? Go around the corner and get service and bring your ass back and fix this damn engine. They don't overvalue box and pre-owned, and like this dude over tightening the torque on the bolts and shit. When's the last time he's been serviced? Service that dude and bring him back so he can fix the engine. You understand what I'm saying? They don't obsess themselves about pre-owned and game and who's going to get this box and who's going to get that box and you incels or this and this. Nobody, only goofy people talk like that. That's strange and foreign to people in foreign lands. How we, all these guys do crazy shit over here. Looks maxing and high value man and what? For what? Pre-owned? Not that you shouldn't be the best version of yourself. Something that's worth, now I won't say a number, but on the street, $10, $20, $50. This dude's walking around, I am a high value man because I can get pre-owned. I mean, not that you shouldn't be squared away. When I talk about men, I talk about being squared away as a man, having purpose and hobbies, and I'll get to the point where people got to start like, that guy is whatever, in a peaceful life. He's the best carpenter in this town. And the man is identified by his purpose and his hobby and what his passions are and what he does with his life. Because without that, you're walking around like a damn droid and a zombie in this world looking for happiness from things like women. For what? Where? You can't get anything out of a soul that's empty. They don't even know themselves. And I don't want to be disrespectful, but most of them are like children. Look at the things they do and say. Look at the mindset, the mentality. Look at when they come in the comment section. Look at the things they say to me and try to insult me. I know that I'm dealing with a child. That's why I just walk right in and just mind tamper with their mind. Because think about it. If they were who they were and who they think they were, they wouldn't be trying to insult me. They wouldn't waste their time. They would just drive right past this channel and keep it moving. But, this is the things that we have to deal with in the modern world because we're dealing with an environment that is artificial, with social media, with so much programming, with so much attacks on the brain, with so much attacks on the mentality and the mindsets of people. And we have knocked men off the course because we have conditioned men with the Hollywood romance novel, the love songs and all this other shit that we're supposed to be walking around here feeling and thirsting for, relationship with an emotional creature, and depending on something that lives and operates on his emotions to add to your happiness or make you happy, you're crazy. I don't do that shit, to be honest with you. And then they talk about loneliness. Loneliness is just horniness turned upside down. I ain't never met a lonely man, unless he has no purpose, with empty balls. I see men that are purposeless that are lonely because they have too much time in their day and they're looking for relief from an emotional creature, a creature that runs off of feelings. Even the kids that they raise, many of these women raise boys run on feelings because that's the way they are and that's the way they operate. So many times the answer to men's problems is looking at them right in the mirror. And it damn sure ain't no woman unless you're looking for more problems because you're dealing with a situation where you're dealing with a percentage of women where you only can get a hold of the 10% women. Otherwise, you're dealing and navigating with personality disorders. And let me tell you something. You don't want no BPD, BPD person or personality disorder person or narcissistic personality disorders living in your house or around you, tearing your soul apart. You might as well just move in with those Sandamite demons from this Hellraiser movie. You know what I mean? You might as well move with the Sandamites in the house with you. And we know what type of pleasures they offer. It ain't going to be pleasant because that's what you're dealing with nowadays. Mental illness. This is a mental health crisis, not just a dating and relationship crisis. We're dealing with mental health, man versus mental health. You can take all the dating and relationship game coaching bullshit you want. If you have low self-esteem as a man, you're cooked. If you don't like your own company and love with your own company, you cook. And you have to put people in position, especially women, where they're competing with your peace and your own self-love in terms of not your own self-esteem, your own self-mastery, your own self-respect. And then when you feel good about yourself, anybody else who is mentally insane comes into your space and tries to lower you down or extract energy from you or destroy your soul, you start feeling sick. You're like, ugh. And I know nowadays there's an epidemic of post-nut clarity depression. And the reason why is because you get some of these women nowadays, they look good, they look sexy, and it becomes a situation of fool's gold. You think you found one, like, man, hey, she's nice and she's giving you all the pre-owned and all that stuff sometime. But after you empty your balls in the honeymoon phase or her acting or her love bombing or whatever that ends, and you examine her and you look at her and especially when you do the Hofax report or whatever, and you look at all the souls of the men before you that she's destroyed, and she's a chronic victim, and everybody else has wronged her in life, and she's this great victim, because women don't become better, they become better victims. That's what therapy exists for. Sit around and validate their debauchery and their life or whatever. So now you're dealing with a woman with a history report of souls she didn't snatch, dudes that she didn't try to destroy, relationships that have went up south because of her insane, selfish, self-centered, narcissistic craziness that she's tried to put on men, and the men were just survived her, and now she's moved on to you, and she's become slicker, cleverer. She's learned how to trap better for those who don't have the confidence and the self-esteem, for those men who are not comfortable being alone in their own company and understanding their value as men. Now she's looking for another victim. Nowadays, you see them looking for the retirement plan. Not all of them. That's why you got to be careful. The 10% women is probably what we're down to now in this environment, because I've seen the mental health crisis get worse with social media. We're dealing with delusion. Delusion is such it's difficult. It's very complicated for men. It's not just dating, relationships, and marriage and whatever else. It's insanity. And there's nothing wrong with you. You're seeing what you're seeing. It's real. You say, well, how did that? And you just be a regular, normal woman, or she's regular, average. Like most of us are average. I'm an average guy. We look regular dude, but you see, because of the social media and the system of gynocentric praise and worship, that person has a grandiose sense of self-value. You're talking to somebody it's only surface level, because below the surface, internet self-esteem is like, they feel horrible inside because they know self-esteem comes from earning it, going through things, building. It's a grind you have to go through to become confident in self-esteem. You're going to have to suffer some. It has to be built, especially from the time you're young. But if you get self-esteem from the internet, that's the most fragile self-esteem ever. That's why you see some of them crash out and become like ticking time bombs, because they're operating on unearned self-esteem that comes from likes and validation on the internet. And they'll crash out on your ass in a second, especially if you don't give them what they want, or don't give them the praise and the validation that you want. And that's why you see even the guys that get, even if you get a lot of women, most of these guys are not settling down with these women. They have a bad case of post-nut clarity depression. They be like, damn, you just pounded out an empty vessel, because she has done no self-development. She does not have anything to offer you other than pre-owned. She's not like good at anything, being affectionate, being caring, being supportive to your needs, or adding any value to you as a man other than pre-owned. She thinks that her whole existence as a goddess or something like that is enough. and therefore you shall be serve her and worship her, and she just gives you some pre-owned, and that's it. That's all you need is life, and then you have to do the other 99%. That is a load, and we have an epidemic of loads nowadays. So anyhow, it's man versus mental illness, and they can say whatever they want to say about me. I really don't care. Half of them is crazy as a bag of dust. That's why when they come in the comment section, I'm like, oh, okay. I push right into it. Go ahead. Because why are they here trying to lower us down? You see, when men talk and educate themselves, they don't see it as empowerment for us. You know, they only see when women try to teach and educate each other, or when panda bears talk to women, they see that as empowerment. But when we try to pass along knowledge, especially to the younger guys, they see it as misogynist and we hate women, or we're just incels or losers. And this is like the last battle attempt to lower men's self-esteem down, because guys are not taking the bait anymore like they used to. Even the jellyback simps are starting to do a calculation and be like, you know what, shit, I've been kissing ass for so long and my meat's still dry. I ain't doing this shit no more. I'm gonna send all that money, and a peaceful life is the only one that's pounding. No, I'm just joking. It ain't me. I ain't the one. Anyhow, they didn't sell on the internet and kiss this woman's ass and liked every photo she posts, and she's over at a Peaceful Life's place. He don't do nothing but talk crazy on the internet every day. You know what I mean? They get mad at that shit. Like, man, hell no, I ain't giving her no attention anymore. She better go build her self-esteem somewhere else. And they get frustrated. They're like, hell no. They probably go visit a brothel or something. At least, I'm not saying that. Don't come for me on YouTube. I don't encourage that, but at least you get some outcome than sitting around giving some crazy narcissistic woman praise and validation. Her head is already big on fake self-esteem. What do you think you're gonna get? Nothing out of that. They'll give their bodies to guys like me who tell them kick rocks before they give it to a guy that's pandering and simping. Except if you're Derek Jackson. That's an exception to the rule, because Derek Jackson has a physique and a physical characteristic of a man that they want. Boys Watkins can pander all day long. They'll listen to the pandering, but in the back of their mind, they're like, yeah, no. They're not going to give him any action. They're just going to be another sucker jellyback simp just pandering to women. And they're not even going to give him the money they give Derek Jackson. They're going to give Derek Jackson some serious money. But anyhow, that's neither here or there. What I'm trying to say is this. This is the reality of the modern world. Look at the mental health professionals on YouTube. They're making a lot of videos about bipolar disorders, narcissistic personality disorders, mental health issues, and be confident enough to look at a beautiful woman, and look at her. And when you discover how crazy she may be, walk away. I don't care how hot she is. I don't care how good that box is. I don't give a man, your life, nothing of that shit is worth nothing if she absolutely destroys your life, destroys your finances, destroys your mental health, and she's gonna go find another sucker down the road, because they'll always land on some jellyback's back. But your life will be absolutely destroyed. I don't care how good she look. If she had that NPD or whatever else, run. Save yourself, because ain't nobody else gonna give a rat's ass about you. You get caught up in some bullshit because you lack the discipline to walk away from a crazy broad. Anyhow, peace and blessings to you guys. We'll finish my morning coffee. I might do a live stream today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment. Hit the like button. There's some brothers that have contributed to the channel. Appreciate your support. I don't want to put your government name out there. You know what I mean? You send a Cash App. I can't put your government name out. I don't know. I can probably give the initials to your name, but you let me know how you feel about that, because I don't want to do that stuff. You know how that is. Anyhow, peace and blessings to you guys. Again, it's men versus mental health crisis. Dating relationship advice. would have to start with teaching men how to identify certain problematic problems, at least at the crisis intervention level. So peace and blessings, you guys. I'm out.